future leader to take over my position and Ben's position. Yours. And we just want to work together. We just want to work together to spread the word and be good citizens of Australia. We want to help those people who have been here for a long time, and also want to help the people who are coming in the future to settle down, be part of and fully integrated in the society and the country, and for the benefit of everybody, not just the Chinese community, but also for Australia in general. Thank you very much for coming.
Now, I'd like to call on the President of the Liberal Party Chinese Youth Council, Chair Scott Young, to say thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. Obviously, I'm very, very new to this whole new media game, but first of all, I want to echo Hudson's message on the Chinese media. Some of you have been around for a few years, but a lot of you have been around for decades, and communication is key to a multicultural society. And ladies and gentlemen, can I just congratulate the Chinese media on that today. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, I want to acknowledge a few people here today. First of all, 3 key people who are the pioneers of the Chinese Australian community. First of all, Hudson Chen, Benjamin Chow, and of course, the great Helen Chan Ho. You know, if Robert Menzies is the founder of the Liberal Party, these guys are the Robert Menzies of the Chinese community. I also want to acknowledge Councillor Nancy Liu. Where are you, Nancy?
Yeah, Nancy.
There you are. Well, if they are the Robert Menzies, you are definitely the Howard. Now, on to more serious matters. It is an absolute honour to be here today, and to also introduce a very, very special friend and mentor of mine, Trent Smithman, the member for North Sydney. You see, Trent is the member for North Sydney and the former president of the party, but that is only the surface of what and who he is as an Australian. And Trent epitomises what it is to be an Australian. He's worked hard his entire life. He graduated from Newington High School. He's been involved in Tourism Australia as the deputy chair, and he's risen to where he is today through hard work and reward, through personal loyalty, through values such as integrity. Now, Trent, I would like to introduce to you, several of our friends here today, Cheezeth, Ivan, Dion, Macy, as well as other people that are going to be behind the scenes and reading this, the next generation of Chinese Australians. So, Trent, like our parents, we have worked hard, we are working hard, building small businesses. Whether you're an accountant, a lawyer, a doctor, or someone who's still studying in university, right? We epitomise what our parents have come here to do, which is to work hard, get ahead, and contribute to this great community. Now, like our parents, we are proud of our Chinese heritage, but we are also committed to this place called Australia. And let me reiterate, proud of our Chinese heritage, committed to Australia's future. So, Trent, I think this is what I think of our multiculturalism. It's very simple. We don't ask where you come from, we don't ask how long you've been here, and we definitely don't ask you to give out your heritage. It's not hard, it's not dogmatic, and it's not ideological, it's simple as that. All we ask is for all of us Chinese Australians, or all Australians, to be committed to our country. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull said something the other day during the by-election campaign. He said that everyone's voice has influence. And you know what? That is absolutely true, right? If you're an Australian, you have a voice to participate in our democracy. But ladies and gentlemen, let me make it very, very clear. It is also our responsibility in this great democracy, in this great freedom of speech platform, to make our community better. Whether it's health, whether it's education, all Australians, Chinese Australians included, need to give their knowledge, their views and their concerns on how we could further our community. So ladies and gentlemen, the Liberal Party Chinese Youth Council is the newest forum for Chinese background Australians to find a voice on the Liberal side. whether it's making it easier to do small business, whether it's furthering a family institution, the family institution construct, or whether it's furthering our world-class education or health systems. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, I encourage you to join the Liberal Party Chinese Youth Council and participate in a great movement. And I definitely want to acknowledge Trent Zimmerman, and over to you, Trent.
Thank you very much, Scott. Thanks, Scott, for having me here today, and I also want to start by acknowledging Ben Chow and Hudson Chen. I'm thrilled they're here, so it guarantees that I'm not the oldest person in the room. But they have been outstanding leaders of the Chinese Australian community, particularly within the Liberal Party. Can I say that I'm delighted to be here for a number of reasons. Firstly, I'm proud to represent in the Federal Parliament an electorate that is one of the most diverse in the country. And that diversity includes 22,500 people who were born or have Chinese ancestry. And in addition to that, there's another 3,000 or 4,000 people whose ancestry is in Hong Kong. So it's an important part of my own community, and I see every day the incredible contribution that Chinese Australians are making to the life of that community. But secondly, and just as importantly, I'm here because I fervently believe that Australia's greatest achievement has been creating such a strong multicultural society. And within our democratic framework, that strength relies on all our citizens feeling as though that they can participate in our democratic institutions, which includes our political parties. And it's incumbent on us, those of us inside the Liberal Party, to make sure that our party, as part of the democratic process, is as welcoming as possible to all members of our society. And for me, the Liberal Party Chinese Youth Council is going to be a very important avenue for us to achieve that objective. I'm particularly pleased that we have an organisation that is focused on young Australians. When I first got involved in the Liberal Party, I was just 17 years old. And I was actively involved in the Young Liberals. And I was its state and national president. And I saw the extraordinary opportunities that young people can have if they put their mind to it and get involved. And I have to say it was back then that I realised just how important our multicultural society was. And that was particularly through the incredible mentor that I had in the form of Helen Shamho. And I'm pleased that to this day, despite the fact that the Liberal Party lost her for a little while, that she continues to be a great mentor to everything that I'm trying to achieve in public life. So the formation of the Chinese Youth Council is a great opportunity for young people to get involved in the party, not just as foot soldiers during election campaigns, but what I've talked to Scott about is making sure that this is an avenue for people to put forward their policy ideas, to be able to contribute to the performance of their state and federal governments. And that's what we really want to do, because we really want the input of young people of all backgrounds, but in this case Chinese Australian young people, to feel as though that they have a stake and a say in the future of the Liberal Party. And I just want to conclude by saying that two things. Firstly, that this is part, I think, of the Liberal Party's broader recognition of both the contribution of Chinese Australians to our own society, but also a recognition of the fact that the Liberal Party does value the relationship that we have with that land from which Chinese Australians came, and that of course is China itself. And I've just returned from 5 days in China, in Beijing, Tianjin, Chengdu and Hong Kong. And it reminded me just how important that relationship is, and this week confirmed that our trade relationship is still the largest with China and growing so significantly. But finally, I just wanted to acknowledge and thank Scott Yung for his leadership and that of his team who have brought this to fruition. They've already been exceptionally active over the last 6 months, and more and more is yet to come. And I'm thrilled that the Premier is going to formally kick off the Chinese Youth Council in a couple of weeks' time, which shows her own commitment to what Scott's trying to achieve. And with the mentorship of Hudson and Ben and Helen, I know it's going to go from strength to strength. And it's an extraordinary honour for me to be a member of the Youth Council's Advisory Committee as well. So all strength to you. It's a great day for the Liberal Party, it's a great day for our democracy, and I know it'll be a huge success.
Thank you very much, Trent.
Thank you very much, Trent, for those words. Mr. Xiao Wu.
She's just going to do that instead.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay, sure. I'll just make it short. Thank you again, everyone who's come. Benjamin and Hudson, Helen, Trent, especially, for supporting us all the way from the very beginning. By the way, I'm the Vice President of Recruitment for the Liberal Party Chinese Youth Council. I just want to say I'm very honoured to see everyone here giving their time and support to us over the past year. Just moving forward, I'm very excited to share with everyone as well our upcoming opportunity meetings. These are going to be very great opportunities, great and valuable opportunities for young and aspiring professionals to meet and greet great people, to pick their brain and just receive some words of wisdom from their respective fields. We've already got 2 MPs on board who've agreed to feature in our first 2 meetings, Natalie Ward and John Sidoti, as a bi-monthly thing coming after the launch. But because it's going to be preceded by the launch, I hope to see everyone there. So I look forward to seeing everyone there on the 23rd of July at Dogton House.
Thank you. Okay, now question time. Any questions from the media or from anybody? Yes.
So any specific field, because there's so many fields that you can help to communicate Chinese, Australian Chinese community people. Any specific field are you guys thinking about, and how is the youth council better different from other Chinese council?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question, Echo from Singtao. And thanks for also teaching me a little bit about the media here and there lately. So I always think about this, ladies and gentlemen. In a year's time, we're going to be back here again. Trent Zimmerman, my team, Helen, right, Hudson, Benjamin. And you're going to ask us, what have we achieved, right? So our number one thing is making sure we deliver for the Australian Chinese community, right? That benefit the community at large. Now, it would be absolutely, I think arrogant of our Chinese Youth Council to say that we know what Chinese Australians want. I think, a good government listens and then it delivers. Our goal is to be a forum to listen to the next generation of Chinese Australians and deliver for them in that respect. So, whether it's issues to do with multiculturalism, integration, health and education, we are here to listen, and that's the message we're putting out there.
Any other question?
Is this new board be running as indefinitely with dates like it's always the new board? Would there be a time restriction? Like a lot of association had a president there for 4 years or 5 years and re-elected. Would that be that way, or is indefinite? Like
I can probably answer that. You see, the LPCC, first of all, Liberal Party Chinese Council, was formed through a resolution of the Liberal Party New South Wales State Executive. Okay, and in a similar fashion, the Youth Council is also formed through resolution of the State Liberal Party. So Hudson and I, and Scott, and the other committees were appointed by the State Executive. You can probably say it that way. So it's really, up to the State Executive. Of course, the State Executives are elected members within the Liberal Party, and then we are just subcommittees, if you like to call it, from that. So we do not, Hudson and I do not get elected, we just get appointed. And if we do a lousy job, I'm sure that they will kick us out.
And every 2 years after the state executive itself is elected, it reviews all of its bodies, and that's when it considers whether there needs to be any change in personnel.
I may also just add to what Scott was saying, because our friend from Singtao was asking, what sort of things that the Youth Council will do. Youth Council is primarily acting as a catalyst, in my view, to try and bring the people together and provide an opportunity for especially the younger Chinese Australians to join the Liberal Party. I think that most of you would agree with me that the Liberal Party values and the Chinese family values and so on are very, very similar. And therefore, I'm of the view that Chinese Australians naturally are Liberal Party oriented. But the Liberal Party needs to reach out a little bit more to harness that energy. So this is what Scott is doing, especially we are trying to engage the younger members of our community. I always believe that in Australia we live in a liberal democracy, a true liberal democracy, and that's not necessarily the case from the countries or the people or the governments that we have come from. And coming into a true democracy, we need to take some responsibility. And I think that there is still a mindset in some of the Chinese Australians who treat Australia as a foreign country, and that mindset needs to change. This is our country, and we need to take responsibility and not just vote, because otherwise you get fined.
We'll see.
May I just my expectation of this youth council, apart from what Ben had actually said, is also, I think, when I actually, long time ago, when Tony Abbott was the Prime Minister, he actually said, Liberal Party is a broad church, which means that it's very inclusive. I think that inclusiveness is so important in our democracy. This is what Ben was saying. And I found that the Chinese community as a whole, for the older generation anyway, was very empathetic to politics, because they think politicians are bad, are liars and whatnot. I think they should change that perception, because politics is about perception. And with the young people, vigorous people, dynamic people like this group, so we hope to change some of the traditional perception about politics, about involving yourself in the activities. And I hope they are having, this is my expectation, activities like the forum, like the dinners, which is inclusive of anybody who can, I suppose you have to pay for your food, to join in, to join in not only the membership, but the activities, so you enjoy the democracy of what politics is about. And so that the politicians like Tran and the Premier Gladys would talk to you people, because people say, oh, we've never seen the politician. This is the opportunity. They provide the opportunity for ordinary citizens to meet with they say, power in old days they said the ivory tower. Now you can get near to politics and the power. So this is, I think, the expectation that they should be changing. I'm very glad to have this opportunity to congratulate all the young ones, and particularly Scott and Tran. Tran was involved all his life in politics to do that. He has been involved in Chinese community all his political career. I want to congratulate Tran too. So thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
Benjamin, can I just make one point?
Yeah, sure.
I do want to acknowledge, one of our sponsors here today. Obviously this council wouldn't be possible today without the support of, Mr. Andy Wong, who's obviously overseas right now. But Mr. William Wu, can we get you up to the front? And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank, William Wu from Chow Beauty. It wouldn't be possible, obviously, like any councils and associations, we need the support of passionate Australians such as William Wu. So, William, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, sorry, I was running late because I got caught up with my patients. I'm a cosmetic surgeon. I've just operated across the road actually at Haymarket at Chow Beauty, so sorry about the delay. I really apologise. First of all, I'd like to just congratulate everyone for such a big achievement, and thanks for everyone for coming today, all the Chinese media present today. And I want to say a special thank to Kent for your great support for this initiative. Without you, this it's not going to happen. And also a big thank to Hudson and Benjamin, for your decades of work, support, and your hard work again supporting the Australian Chinese community. A big congratulations to Scott for such a great work.
Thanks for your support.
Seeing you as a baby growing up. Now a very passionate, successful young man, putting forward all this great initiative for this to happen. I think for me, I think I feel very strongly about this because I feel personally quite connected to the Youth Council. Not that I'm young, but more to do with how I grew up, and as an Australian with a Chinese background, and seeing how Scott growing up, seeing all these young men growing up, and I want to share a bit of my own experience, whether in academics, whether in business field, and just seeing these people growing up, and also seeing this council grow, as you said, as a great platform for people to exchange ideas and to express their thoughts to the government or and vice versa, and that's the least I can do to support this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, William. Okay, we'll wrap it up now. So, two things. One is that on the 23rd of July, we have a dinner, the official launch of the LPCYC, and this is by the State Premier, Gladys Berejiklian. And that will be in the Dalton House. In your press release, you can see that. And the other thing I want to mention is that we, with LPCYC, they are organising some opportunity meetings to present to interested people, especially the younger ones, how to participate in the Liberal Party side of politics. And the first one of those meetings will be on the 16th of August, which is a Thursday at 7 p.m. And at that particular opportunity meeting, we call it, will also be supported by Natalie Ward, who's MLC at the Liberal Party MLC state government, and that will be held at Umi Sushi Haymarket. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
LPCCU is changing the dynamic of the Chinese community in Australia. We want members from Chinese origin to be in the parliament. Since Helen's time, there's no one else. And partly it's Ben's and myself's fault for not being able to train enough people to get involved to such an extent they can stand for elections and get into the parliament. And we hope to, Scott and the team, and we will continue to support them and train, being the supervisor and the teacher, to help them to at least 2 members of parliament in the next 8 years to come. So let's give them some encouragement by putting our hands together that Scott and his team will be representing us in the parliament one day soon.